Hey there YouTube, this is going to be the next round of answers from my Q&A session. I apologise for taking so long to get round to it. It's just that one of the questions I was asked, for some reason, whenever I've come to record a video answer, I've talked myself into this contusive mass of ambiguity and contradictions, and I honestly have no idea why. I'd presumed up until this point that my perspectives on the matter were quite clear, but evidently they aren't. Anyway, the question comes from RowanFortuneWood, whose channel you will find floating around here somewhere, and it's, do you support or oppose voluntary euthanasia and why? Generally speaking, I support voluntary euthanasia. I certainly support the creation of a system similar to what they have in Sweden, whereby particular cases can be assessed on their own merits, with reference to a particular set of criteria. It simply seems logical, pragmatic, and entirely sensible to me. It would be hypocritical of me not to support it, simply because I expect the courtesy for myself, particularly if I end up in a situation whereby my mental faculties are degenerating or my physical capabilities are going the same way for whatever reason. I cannot stand the idea of existing in that kind of situation, particularly with regards to mental degeneration, because that seems to me to be the loss of the gradual loss of the self, and I couldn't cope with that. I would much prefer there to be some sort of formal mechanism in place whereby I can just have it ended, and also not leave a hideous legal and emotional mess for everyone around me. And that's the problem it seems that we have in Britain at the moment. We have situations where people, for whatever reason, want to end their lives, yet there is no formal mechanism by which their cases can even be assessed, which is ludicrous insofar as I'm concerned, absolutely ludicrous. And all it means is that euthanasia is either conducted at home or the responsibility is taken into the individual subject's own hands, which of course just leaves a hideous mess for everyone. And the fact that someone who cares for someone deeply can be arrested for murder when all they've actually done is help to end someone's suffering is a travesty, an utter travesty. There has to be the establishment of some sort of pragmatic mechanism here, and that is the second reason, really, the second principal reason why I support voluntary euthanasia, and that's sheer pragmatism. It simply makes sense for there to be some sort of mechanism or system in place, rather than this blanket situation we have now where it's just no. Euthanasia cannot even be considered. And yet, like abortion, occurs anyway, whether it's legal or not. That said, though, I am aware that there are extenuating circumstances that make euthanasia much more problematic, or the concept of euthanasia. And of course, I would support the creation of a system whereby these factors can be taken into account. For example, the mental capability of the individual subject. They may not be in a position whereby they can make a rational decision concerning whether or not they engage in voluntary euthanasia. But again, I would say that the Swedish system takes this into account, so it wouldn't take much effort to create a similar system here. Well, it's funny, isn't it? I've tried to record that answer 8 times. 8 times over the past week or so, and it hasn't happened. And then it just comes out very easily. It's just bizarre. ZizzlerRizzle 8707, also known as the Zizzler, asks, what music do you like, and who are your favourite bands? Ooh, it's like asking me what my favourite books are, or what my favourite movies are. I just love media in general, and any form of creative expression. There's no particular kind of music I dislike, unless you count the sort of mass-produced, plastic, fantastic, mainstream hip-hop and pop that we get at the moment, which I think is utter bollocks, simply because largely it has no creative input whatsoever. It's just pandering to the lowest common denominator and is there to make money and nothing else. The sort of pop idol stuff is what I'm talking about, and the mainstream hip hop you get on MTV, it's crap. To find good hip hop, you have to go onto the internet or into the underground clubs. But there is no particular kind of music I dislike. But there are some I prefer more than others. I love jazz in almost all of its forms. Freeform jazz, when it's done well, I think is the most amazing form of music ever. I could listen to it forever. I like various composers that are considered classical. Puccini, I think, is wonderful. Mozart's requiems, I think, are fantastic. I particularly like the Requiem No. 3, the Dies Irae, the Day of Wrath. That is wonderful. There's who else? Vivaldi. I don't think anyone does celebration like Vivaldi. His music is always so uplifting. I love Vivaldi a great deal. Beethoven. I think I can't remember who it was, but someone said that Ode to Joy is a piece of work that justifies humanity's existence in the universe. With all of the long, sad history of travesty and tragedy and war and whatnot, the fact that something so beautiful has been created at some point justifies our existence. And I think that's a wonderful way of looking at things, and I wholeheartedly agree. Ode to Joy is the most beautiful piece of music, especially when it's played, when it's conducted well. What else do I like? I like Americana, which is pretty much a dead tradition now. But Americana music, I think, is beautiful. It's sort of quintessentially American, and I love that. The Eagles, in particular. I think the Eagles are one of the most superlative bands in existence. And I'm going to see them later this year, and I cannot wait. I honestly cannot wait. There's and I don't quite know where they're from. An Eastern European band I rather like called Nightwish. They're very theatrical, and their videos are absolutely beautiful. They do these sort of epic rock ballads that I really like. And the lead singer is the most beautiful man you're ever likely to see. He really is stunning. I like Loop and Crook. Loop and Crook. I love the dark and schizophrenic nature of his music, and the wit that underlies it all. The Gorillaz. I think the Gorillaz are one of the best bands to come out of the last couple of decades, actually. And their last album, Demon Days, I don't care if they don't produce anything again, because that album is stunning. I particularly like El Mañana. That is a wonderful track. But I could list people forever. David Bowie, The Prodigy, Linda Svan, Tears for Fears, Echo and the Bunnymen, Simply Red, Genesis before Peter Gabriel left. I like Genesis' stuff when it's a little more theatrical and fanciful, and when it's got this quality of story set to music. I like Peter Gabriel's solo career as well. His album Hit and Miss, I could listen to that over and over and over and over and over and over again and love it. There's a Japanese singer-songwriter called Maya Sakamoto as well, whom I absolutely adore. You'll find her work floating around on YouTube, actually. There's this song from an anime called Wolf's Rain, and the song is called Gravity, and it's so beautiful. I'll put a link to it, actually. There'll be a link in the sidebar to Maya Sakamoto's Gravity, or floating around on the screen. It's stunningly beautiful. I like Gregorian chant music as well.